what are some things that you could directly implement into your business, or ways to kind of think about this idea of in-season selling? So the first thing, and this is coming directly from like a marketing consultant, most folks who do advertise in this industry turn their advertisements off way too soon, right? And what I mean is they turn them off when they're booked, or they turn them off right as the season starts. The reality is that in any market, I'd probably bet my salary on this, I'm pretty confident, people are calling all year long when it snows and they need service, right? So why, if you're in this for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, would you turn off your advertising? Look, if the money, right, is really that big of a deal, okay, I get it. But my gut tells me that 3 years down the line, your business would be way larger and more successful if you kept your ads on all year round, right? Because people are searching. And the other thing I want to tell everybody is you got to think different in this market. There's a lot of people who are just going to advertise, at a certain period because they know that's where the calls are. So maybe you got to start earlier, right? Maybe you got to do something. Maybe you got to go longer, right, to beat the competition. Okay, so part of this is like, just because you are booked doesn't mean that you don't want more leads, because you're going to be in business next year. And those people who wanted your service this year, why wouldn't they want it next year? The only reason is that they found the best contractor in the world, but that rarely happens, right? There's a lot of switching in this industry. And so I really tell people, keep it on for at least the first 2/3 of the year if you can bear it, right? Because the amount of additional leads that you're going to get is going to be of benefit in about 4 or 5 months when you go back out to sell again, right? And that 4 or 5 month period happens pretty fast. The second thing, and this takes a little bit of investment into your website and some of your business systems, but you really should be capturing any information about a customer on your website in some sort of form and putting that into a CRM system or a database. You should try to be migrating to tools like a ServiceTitan or something like that, where you can do more electronic, right, capture of information and store that. Because although it may be clumsy to fat finger everything in there, I get it, and maybe take a little bit more time in certain instances. Over the long haul, having that data and information well organized and accurate is going to help you sell more and grow the business. So, it's a little bit of short-term pain and getting used to doing some of these different things for a lot of long-term gain, right? It's kind of like dieting and working out. Most of you probably know about email newsletters. You probably get them all the time. I've given my information to lots of snow and lawn companies just for research purposes, and I very rarely get an email from anybody. But I think that if you're capturing people's emails on forms on your website, or to send them quotes, or to communicate with them, you should be trying to get an email newsletter out once a month. And even if the email newsletter is, you throw all of your contacts in the BCC file, and it's just a 5-sentence email saying, hey, everybody, I want to thank you for, trusting us with our services. Everything's going great, blah, blah, blah. It's been a great first half of the season. Respond to this email if you need anything from me, right? Most of you are probably like, oh, I don't want to hear from anybody. But it's like, you have to interact with people if you want to get stuff with them. And the more you interact with your customers, the better they'll get to know you. And trust me, I think the harder it will be for them to leave, because they'll get to know you. You don't want to just be a faceless company. So create a newsletter template. If you can't do this yourself, you don't have the skills, this is very cheap to do. You can go on Upwork, Fiverr, whatever it is. Heck, you probably just log into a MailChimp or something like that and use the existing template and send them an update about something, right? Again, it could be future services. It could be what's going on, what's transpired. It could be upcoming weather events. But the more you stay top of mind with customers, the less likely they are to go to Google and search for somebody else. And the more likely they are to spend additional dollars with you, because they're constantly hearing and seeing your name. And it's not necessarily in a negative light. The next thing, and this has been huge with larger deals, right, is to reach out to any proposal that you lost about halfway through the season. And the way I like to do this is just touching base. Hey, happy new year. Hope the holidays are great. How's the family? that normal banter. Listen, I know we didn't win. I'm still bitter, and crying tears into my beers here. But wanted to check in. How's the winter doing? They killing it for you? I hope they are. But if they're not, I'm here for you, right? And that just gets tons of responses. Like I mean, when I do that, I hear like 100% response rate. Like everybody. Now, it's not always, hey, they suck, like we want you. A lot of times it's, yeah, they're actually doing a really good job here. But thanks for checking in, and if anything changes, we'll give you a ring. And I'm okay with that. I just want to stay in the game, right? Because this business or this HOA, I expect them to be there in 5 years and 10 years and 15 years and 20 years. And I expect the business to be here too. So I want to make sure, again, that I'm doing the things that set me up for success in the future, not just, today. Now, about 2/3 of the way through the season, right, I think it's really good to start, promoting your spring and summer services to existing customers. Everyone's looking forward to the snow stopping, right, and the warmer temperatures, but they're not watching it that closely, right? And people are busy, and for most folks, taking care of the exterior of their home is not like their number one main priority obsession. So alerting them to the fact that very shortly this is all going to thaw, it's not going to be damp anymore. We're going to want to do any repairs. We're going to want to do cleanups from debris and everything else that happens. It's a good time to get going on that stuff. It will put you in a position that you don't have to scramble, right? That's what I see a lot of scrambling. So if you take a little time, plan ahead, think ahead, and start getting people ready for services, you may find yourself that as you're ramping down and closing out the snow season, you've got a nice, neat, full plate of people to take care of in the spring. And you're not sort of putting your equipment away while your phone's ringing off the hook and you're freaking out because you're like, oh no, am I going to hit a revenue dip because I didn't call enough people because there were an extra couple of snowstorms and all of that stuff that kind of happens, right? We've been through it and understand it, but you got to learn from it and you got to make some changes. Okay. This next one, number 6, really is just, it's a tough one, I think, for a lot of people, but investing into additional equipment and capacity, so that you can service on-demand customers. That is always going to be a portion of the market. I actually think that as apps kind of, on-demand apps continue to proliferate, people, like, it's going to be more and more enticing for folks to not do a seasonal contract and try to get by on, a per push on demand. I know customers complain about it, but I've seen people who wanted, per push, and we came back next year and said, hey, let's do, how did it work out with the other person? It didn't work great. And they still don't want to go back to a seasonal contract, right? So, but I think if you have spare change and you have money that you're looking to invest and you're not exactly sure what to do with it, really think about excess capacity, because the worst thing that'll happen is if you have spare equipment is something will break down and you won't be down for as long.